Hello and welcome to the Spargur Yarn Crafts podcast. My name is Will Spargur. I am your host. Today is episode 44. Actually, it's technically episode 45. I discovered as I was going through some of my old videos that there's actually 2 episode 33s. So I'm not going to go renumber it. So it's 44 for all intents and purposes. But if you are new, thank you so much for finding my channel. If you are returning, thank you so much for coming back to join me again for another podcast. For those of you who have not watched my podcast before, you can find all of my social media links in the video description box below. I am not going to go through all of those because there's a lot, but you can find everything about me, and then you can also find everything related to my dyeing company, which is Spargur Yarn Co, where I hand dye yarn, and I also hand sew project bags. So if you are interested in checking any of that out, the link is in the video description box below. The only thing I will discuss is the Ravelry group, which is currently still under the name The Budget Knitter Podcast, and that's because that is what I had pre-rebranding. So now that I've changed the name, I need to go in and change that. I don't use Ravelry very often or as much as I should be using Ravelry, mostly because it's not incredibly intuitive. I need to. Anyway, so if you are interested in any of the things that are going on the Ravelry group, which is, again, the Budget Knitter Podcast, we're doing a finished objects of 2019, which is anytime you finish an object between January 1st and December 31st of this year, you can post it in that thread. There is no giveaway or anything associated with it. It is simply just a celebration of finishing objects. I know I feel good when I finish an object. I know you guys feel good when you finish an object. So we're just kind of in there to celebrate the finishing of objects. I think a lot of people really do look for that kind of recognition when they finish something. You know, here's something I did, I feel really good about it. So that's kind of a thread where we can do that. You can chat in there, whatever you want to do. It's not locked or anything. So feel free to post in there. I think it's a really great way to just celebrate the things that we work on. If you have not been to my podcast before, we go straight into works in progress, finish objects, any other Yarny related things like stash acquisitions or something related to that. And then we go into the giveaway portion because I try to do a giveaway every podcast. After that is life updates, which are the non-yarn related things. So if you are not interested in the things that are going on in my life that are not fiber related, you don't have to watch that. I put that at the end for those who do want to know and keep up with me. But if you're not interested in that part, no hard feelings. You may cut out after the giveaway portion. Also, if you're kind of just looking to jump around to some of the things that you find interesting, timestamps are in the video description box below as well. So you can jump to the things you're interested in and then move on to your next podcast or whatever it is that you will be doing for the rest of the day or evening. So that is there for your convenience. All right, so if you don't remember, my name is Will, and let's just get on with the show, shall we? So for works in progress, I have a couple of things. One of them I'm just going to talk about because it's getting really big and hard to maneuver, and the rest I will show. And some of the things that I've been working on I'm not going to show because I haven't made enough progress, or I actually haven't touched one of them since the last podcast. So the first thing being my cloak that I've been working on. It is a crocheted cloak. If you haven't been to the podcast before, you can see it in the previous episode, episode 43. I do have it on there. But it is all in double crochet using 5.5mm hook. I believe that is a USI. I don't know. I use millimeters for hooks and US sizes for needles. I don't know why. So it's about 250 stitches wide now. It takes about 30 to 45 minutes to get a row done, but I add about an inch to an inch and a half every 2 rows. So it is growing slightly. It is finally down past my fingertips, which I think is really fun. I'm hoping to have it done by the end of the year. But it is one of several large projects that I am completing right now. So I don't know, I don't really have a timeline for when I'm going to finish that because it does require me having time to sit and actually crochet on it. But again, it's a really fun project, and I hope to have it done by Christmas so I can wear it, you know, when it's cold. So that's one of the things I'm working on, but if you're interested in seeing more of it, I have it on my Instagram and again on the previous podcast, so you can go there and see that as well. So in terms of the finished works in progress that I do have, I am dropping things. I have a lot of really large projects going on right now, so one of the things that I wanted to do was kind of just have a smaller project. Instant gratification is a really great thing, especially if you're feeling discouraged about finishing anything, if it's taking you a while. There's something caught in my throat. Anyway, so sometimes I will pull out a crochet hook and just some yarn and I will go to town on something just to have this feeling of accomplishing something, especially when you're in a rut. So I pulled out some yarn that did not have a ball band. I have no idea what this yarn is. I think it's something from Loops and Threads at Michael's, but I honestly have no idea. And this is going to be a hat. So I have finished all my increases. I started at the top here. And I finished all my increases, and now I'm just going around and around. And it's all in single crochet on a 6.0 millimeter hook, so 6 millimeter hook, which is a J. I think it's a J. Yeah, because K is 6.5, so J is 6, and I is 5.5. Okay, I have that right. So I started this yesterday. I just been doing single crochets, increases. I've been using Quaylen Stark's kind of I think he calls it by the sixes or something, but he taught it at Stitches SoCal last year about how to do a toboggan where you start with 6 stitches and you increase 6 stitches every round until you reach a certain length, which I think is the top of your ears, and then you just start going around and around. I think it's from like here to here that you measure. I didn't do that. I actually put this up against a hat that I know fits and crocheted until it was that width, and now I'm just going in a circle. If it doesn't fit, oh well, I know people with smaller heads. So that is something I'm working on. I actually really like the way these colors work up. It's I think it's a 2-ply, or it's 2 4-ply yarns plied together or something, but it's a really cool color transition. I like the way it works. I would get closer to the camera, but my camera doesn't do autofocus, so it's going to be over here for now. But it's just a really simple project. I think I've got the cake. This is the caked yarn, so you can kind of see some of the color variations in that. So that's what I'm working on, and that is currently in this cafe canvas project bag that I did myself. If you're interested in any of the project bags that I have, those are on the site. I don't make a lot of them. I make probably about 4 or so at a time, but there's a lot of fun prints. There's some stuff like this, and there's see this green thing on the shelf? There's some like that on occasion. There's a blue patterned one, and then I have the Pinup Boys from Alexander Henry, which I will show right now because it's time for the next work in progress. So this is a different print from Alexander Henry, camping, and this one, I made this one specifically for me because I make a lot of project bags and sell them, and then I don't keep any for me. So this has the project that I'm looking to finish very soon, probably by next podcast. I'm really diligently working on it, and so if you've been with me for a while, you've seen this, but it's been a while since I've shown it because I haven't been working on it, but I decided to pull it out and get back to work on it. And if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen this more and more recently, but it is a raglan sweater, just a plain raglan sweater. And this is using a pattern called the Incredible Custom Fit Top-Down Raglan by Pamela Costello. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. You do have to do a little bit of math, but I really love the way that the pattern is laid out, which is you choose the needles and yarn you want to use, you do a gauge swatch, and then you plug in a little bit of math based on your measurements, and it tells you exactly how many stitches to cast on for your collar and how to knit. And so I did plain stockinette, but let's say you wanted to do a cable stitch or something like that, you would do a swatch using the cable that you want to use and measure your gauge that way, and it would again tell you all of that information. So it's a really great way to, especially if you're looking to get into pattern designing, it's a great way to just get the basic layout of how to design a sweater based on gauge and whatever you're using, and then you can tailor it however you would like to. And what I like about it is that it's made so that the back is higher than the front, so you don't get that awkward boat neck. As I understand that the boat neck is great for women, you know, they want, you know, a little bit, they want their fabrics pulled a little bit further from their neck. They like having the very open neckline. As a gentleman, I do not like the boat neck because I like having it hugged around my neck. It's just the way that I like things worn, so this pattern allows for that. The great thing about the pattern, though, is that it'll also tell you how to do a V-neck, and I believe it can also be modified for a cardigan, so it gives you a few different options on how you want to knit your sweater. This yarn is I Love This Yarn from Hobby Lobby. I do not know the colorway, I am sorry. However, so I got this yarn in like a gift stash from someone. However, I was in Hobby Lobby a few months ago, and this colorway does still exist. I just did not look at what it is called. But I did run out, but I decided, you know, I had this tweedy tan, and I decided that this tweedy tan would be great for the sleeves. So I'm almost done with one sleeve, and then of course I've got the other one to go. And I've been trying this on as it goes. I've got maybe about 5 inches left on the first sleeve, and then I'll start the second sleeve. I'm knitting this on US 8 needles, and for all of the ribbing, I did twisted rib. So this is the bottom ribbing. Yeah, you're probably not going to be able to see that. But twisted rib, if you're not familiar, is where you knit one through the back loop, purl one, knit one through the back loop, purl one. So you're twisting the knit stitch. It creates this very interesting ribbing to where the knit stitch is twisted. It's a really nice feature. Sometimes when I do 1x1 ribbing, the knit stitch is really open and it leaves that kind of space in the middle, and I don't like that. So if that's something you don't like in your own 1x1 ribbing, I encourage you to try twisted rib. And there are plenty of videos on YouTube you can find for executing twisted rib in your knitting. But I think it's a great way to add a little bit of texture, but also kind of just really clean lines in the ribbing for just about anything. I do it on hats as well. So that's a really great option. So yeah, the only thing that sucks about this is that it's a little small. It's ever so just slightly too small. And because it's acrylic, I don't think it's going to block out. So I guess it's just an excuse for me to go to the gym. Okay, I'm trying to pack this back into this bag. Ugh, this is what happens when you get close to the end of the ball. Okay, so those are my works in progress that I currently have any progress done on. The Excuse Me sweater is currently on hold until I finish this sweater. I decided I wanted to do one at a time, and when I pulled that out and started making some pretty good progress on it, I decided that's where I wanted to stick. So that's what we're doing. Anyway, so let's move on to the finished objects. Okay, so I only have one project done this week, and that's because, again, I'm working on a lot of really big projects. But I did finish something from the last podcast, and that is the single color brioche hat. This is so pretty. And this is knit using Echoes of the Mojave from Spargur Yarn Co, which is my dyeing company. You're not going to be able to see the decreases on this, but they're really cool. So it's Echoes of the Mojave, which is actually right there. It's that one. And then the mohair right next to it. That's held double. So what I really liked about this, and you can see it in the previous podcast, is that Echoes of the Mojave is a nice, deep, rich, kind of naturals and desert colors. And then the mohair, because it's gold, it really tones down that yarn. It's gorgeous, and you can see that comparison in the previous podcast episode. But I just really love the way this turned out. It is so soft, so pretty. The brioche is nice and plush and squishy. And for me, I wanted this to be slouchy, so I made it to where it slouches. Because beanies that form fit to my head make me look kind of weird. I don't like them. So I like the slouchy look, and that's how I intend to wear this hat. It doesn't get incredibly cold here, but this is a nice hat. It'll be good for about the January, February months here in Las Vegas. So that is my only finished object. I knit this on US 3s, US 3s on a 16-inch circular, and then what did I do? When I started getting to the decreases, I did do it on Magic Loop. Brioche Magic Loop is not easy, but it is doable, and I do plan to post a video in the future showing how to do that. I actually plan to do kind of a whole little brioche series, which will be kind of fun, but don't look for that immediately, like, if I started, I hope to start it around December maybe. I want to plan out, you know, I still actually have to learn how to do flat brioche. I'm really good at brioche in the round, but flat brioche is new to me. So what we may do is we may just do a hat together. If you're interested in this pattern, it is called the Rocky Harbor hat. It is from Knit Picks. It is in their, it's in their book Dapper, which is for masculine people. It's all masculine hats, sweaters, and scarves and mitts. So you can either buy the book from Knit Picks, or I believe you can buy the pattern for $5 on their website. But it's the Rocky Harbor hat. It's a really great introduction to brioche. It is a 2-color brioche hat. I just decided to do single color because I didn't really have anything that went with this. But I have knit another one, which you can see in the previous podcast. I did do the same hat, but in 2-color brioche. So you can see that there. So that's the only finished object I have. Let's move along to some other Yarny related things. Okay, so I have some new things for the stash, some of which I found, some of which are hand-dyed by me, but I'm adding them to my stash because I love them, and I actually bought them for the purposes of adding to my own stash. So, I went to Goodwill recently, and I don't normally find good things there. I usually find, you know, your normal box store craft yarns, at which point I'm like, well, I don't really need that. I have a lot of that. I go mainly to look to see if somebody threw out something they didn't know they had. And this time, I got lucky. Okay, so I found 2 skeins of this beautiful, it's a worsted wool something. It's a little scratchy. It is a little scratchy, but it's definitely wool because I soaked it and it definitely had the wool smell. Because of course I wanted to clean it. There were 2 skeins of this. I believe they are 50-gram skeins. They feel a little too, yeah, they feel about 50 grams or so. So about 100 grams of this beautiful worsted variegated yarn. There were 2 skeins of that. And then there were also 2 skeins of this beautiful mohair. Now this was caked up, so I had to re-hank it. I had to put it back on a Swift and then hank it up myself. But this also got soaked and cleaned. And I was a little worried that it wasn't natural, because sometimes some of the synthetics feel just as good as naturals. But I ended up soaking it and the water ran blue, so it's definitely been hand-dyed. So this is definitely hand-dyed mohair. I don't think there's silk in here. It doesn't really have a sheen, and it's not as soft as the silk mohair I've used before. But this is absolutely still just as gorgeous. There were 2 skeins of this as well. And then there was a 50-gram skein of 100% lace weight baby alpaca from Misty Alpaca. And of course, Goodwill puts the sticker over all of the interesting information. And I didn't think to take it off until just now, so this may go well and this may not. Because Goodwill stickers are not in one piece if you've ever tried to take off one of their stickers. And nope, that's not going well. Okay, so I don't know if this has a colorway name. It probably doesn't. It's probably a number. Yes, the color is 720. But beautiful, beautiful pink. Very, very soft. I love this. Very, very cute. And then additionally with that, I found 2 skeins of 50-gram Waikiwi yarns. Now, if you've been with me for a really long time, I actually knit a pair of socks out of this that somebody gave me. So to find some more in a shop was really cool. Now, these are 55% New Zealand merino, 20% nylon, 15% alpaca, and 10% possum. So these are very, very interesting yarns. They're from New Zealand, and I have used them. They are very soft. They're very nice. I actually really enjoyed working with these. So one of them is a solid, and again, I think all of these are numbers instead of actual colorway names. And this one is a print, so it'll kind of knit up self-striping in a way. And then it's 181 meters or 198 yards per skein. So I found those there as well. And then there was, like, because they throw them in bags at my Goodwill, it's all there were some other things in there, but they were all like polyester stuff, so I didn't bother with that. I'm keeping it because it's actually kind of cool. It's like some novelty yarn, but I didn't feel like showing it. So one of the other things I have is I have 5 skeins of this Baby Yak Silk blend. It is 50% Baby Yak, 50% Mulberry Silk. I bought 5 of these as just bare skeins because I wanted to test out dyeing them, how they took dye. And they are so incredibly soft and so pretty. These are 50 grams, 246 yards per hank or skein. So with 5 of these, I have about 1,000 and so almost 1,200 yards, I think. So very, very gorgeous. It's fingering weight. I'm keeping these for myself because they're so pretty. But if people are interested in it, I may include it in my dyed to order section on my website if people are interested in the base. So that's just a really nice plum, like a light plum color. Additionally with that, this is the yarn I will be using. I don't know if you're going to be able to see. So this is a high twist 2-ply 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon, both the full and the 20-gram mini. I'm doing a mystery sock set for Spargur Yarn Co. It is going to be holiday related, so December, January time of year, and on my Instagram I posted my inspiration photos. It's a collage, so I'll pick the colors from that collage. But if you pre-order that now through October 10th, one lucky person who pre-orders the sock set will get a free sock set completely free. It's going to be a complete surprise. You won't know until you get your package. But one person who pre-orders between now and October 10th will receive a free second sock set for free. Free. I'm going to say the word free a million times because apparently my brain doesn't hear it when I say it the first time. But that's on this beautiful, beautiful base. If you want to see more, follow Spargur Yarn Co. on Instagram and you can see more of this beautiful, beautiful yarn. That being said, it is time to move on to the giveaway. So let's jump on over to that. So, giveaway time, favorite time of the podcast for a lot of people. So last week's giveaway was a skein of yarn that is cotton. It is hand dyed. It is in a different room right now waiting for the winner. I forgot to grab it, but it is very, very beautiful. You can pop onto the other podcast to see that skein of yarn. But we are going to pick the winner, and by winner I mean I picked them right before filming the podcast. And so the winner of that beautiful hand-dyed skein of cotton is Queen's Crafts, and I will put that in here so that you can see that. Queen's Crafts with K's instead of C's. So congratulations, Queen's Crafts. You are the winner of the hand-dyed yarn from the last podcast. So everybody thank that person. I have no idea if that... I have no idea how they identify. So congratulations, Queen's Crafts. And so that means we have more yarn to give away. And that being said, I'm going to give away the 2 skeins of Waikiwi yarn. I think whoever wins this will really enjoy this. This would make a really cool pair of mismatched socks to where, let's say you start the toe, heel, and cuff with this color and do the rest with this one, and then you turn around, do the toe, heel, cuff with this one, and knit the rest of the sock with this one. I think that would be a really cool effect. I've seen people do that a lot. So this would make a really cool pair of socks. But because I've knit with this before, I don't feel that I need to knit with it again. I did love it, but I think it'd be great to give somebody else the opportunity to knit with this as well, or crochet. If you want to win these 2 skeins of yarn, please tell me in the comments what your favorite fiber accessory is. So if you knit or crochet, maybe it's you have a favorite stitch marker, or maybe you've got a pattern holder that you really like, or maybe it's a knitting related or fiber related app that you really like. And if you hear my dog barking, I am so sorry. He barks at everything that moves. But tell me what your favorite fiber related accessory is, and I will pick the winner on the next podcast. So again, congratulations, Queen's Crafts, on winning last podcast's giveaway. If you are interested in winning this podcast's giveaway, please tell me what your favorite fiber accessory is. And that concludes pretty much, I think, the majority of the Yarny stuff. Let me check my book. Oh, no, I have one other announcement. Okay. So, a couple podcasts ago, I mentioned the poncho that I knit for Spargur Yarn. And that poncho, I sent off the pattern to her and the sample. They are taking pictures in November and December, and the pattern will be released in January, I believe, along with their kits. So as that gets closer, I will let you know more. However, there is going to be a little bit of a change to the pattern. I'm going to be including a smaller size for like children. So if you are looking to knit them for smaller children, there will be a smaller size. It's essentially going to be half the size. I have tried the poncho that I made on multiple sizes of people, from a woman who was like 5'2" and very, very skinny, to a woman who was about 6 foot tall and quite, large is not the wrong word. She is beautiful, but she definitely has a much larger bust. So it fits all ranges and heights, and everybody seemed to love it that they tried on. By the way, I'm really sorry if that was not the way to say that. I did not think about this until just now. So I apologize if that was offensive. I hope it wasn't. Anyway, so that will be released in January, but I will be including a smaller size for, you know, children, teenagers. It should fit everybody pretty well. I'm trying to be as size inclusive as I can. And then going forward, I think I'm also going to include in the pattern, if you are trying to accommodate larger sizes than the large size that I currently have, is to just double the stitch count that is currently there, and that should work just fine. So I will put that in there as well. So trying to be size inclusive there when possible. Well, it's always possible. Trying to be size inclusive as I go forward. Was that everything? Oh, so the basket, I won a basket. I talked about this last podcast, and they hadn't sent it, so I actually messaged her on Instagram, and life got in the way, she forgot. It's fine. I'm not upset about that at all. It arrived. It is soaking right now, because it comes, like, collapsed. So you have to, like, soak it in water to put its shape back. So it is currently soaking in my bathtub, but I did get it. So if anybody was concerned about whether or not I was going to get my prize from last podcast for the Quiet Queers Craft Along, I did get it. It's here. It's just fixing itself, I guess, is the way to put that. Okay, that is all of the yarn-related things. So if you were just here for the yarn and fiber-related things, thank you so much for joining me. For those of you who want to stay for the life updates, I just have a couple, and I will get to that in just a moment. So I really only have one life update thing right now, mainly because most of the things I've been doing have been fiber-related in my life, other than work, of course. But the only kind of non-fiber-related thing that's been of any consequence is that Princess, for those of you who know my dogs, Princess is my older dog. She's 7. She's been having really bad breath for a while, and I didn't really know why. I thought maybe it was the food or the water or something. To preface this, I've never had dogs before, so this is it's a learning experience, and I didn't get Princess as a puppy. I got her when she was 4. So I've had an adult dog. Duchess, on the other hand, I did get as a puppy, so I'm watching her grow, and so unfortunately the things that I'm having to learn with Princess are the things that I'm going to be able to take care of better for Duchess. Princess, her breath was just getting really, really, really bad. So I finally was able, she wouldn't let me near her mouth, she wouldn't eat hard food. I was finally able to get close enough to look at what was going on, and she had lost like all of her top front teeth and one on the bottom, and I kind of panicked, and I was like, oh my god, my dog is losing her teeth. Now, like, I know that Chihuahuas genetically are going to lose their teeth in their old age. It's not, you can't stop it. It's just gonna happen. But 7 was a little early. So I scheduled a vet appointment for a tooth cleaning, like a deep cleaning, because obviously that was the problem. And the top 2 teeth were very loose. Like, I probably could have pulled them out myself. They were so loose. I wasn't going to do that, but I probably could have. So I got her appointment, took her in. The vet bill or the vet called after they got her under anesthesia. A deep cleaning for dogs, if you don't know. They put them under anesthesia so that they can clean everything really well. They're going to take a really good look at their mouth. The vet dentist called me, and they're like, so she's missing a lot of teeth, and we're going to have to pull 5 more. And her gums have receded. She's really prone to infections, so we need to put some sealants in to, 1, protect the teeth that are still there and hopefully save them, and 2, to prevent infection. So the vet bill jumped from $233 to $828. That was not fun. Luckily, my mom helped, and I was also able to tell them, like, do you guys have a payment plan? Because I don't have that. And they were very nice, and they actually took 50% of the bill off. So I'm very, very grateful to the vet that took care of her, that they were able to do something nice and make it so that I could get her back to being healthy. So that was a really big thing. Having never had dogs, I mean, I've had cats, but those were always, you know, my parents took care of the cats. So I've never had an animal that I owned that then had to go to the vet. So that was very nerve-wracking for me. I was nervous to drop her off. I was nervous to pick her up, but the vet said she did great. She did very well under anesthesia. She didn't have any issues. She did what dogs normally do after they come out of anesthesia, which is for the first 24 hours, they are prone to throwing up and they may not eat because they are going to possibly feel a little sick. That's exactly what happened, but 24 hours went by. She perked right up. She's been eating. Everything is great. Her teeth look amazing. Her breath is so much better. And now I know what I need to do to take care of her teeth. She won't let me brush, but she is, I'm allowed to start giving her hard food again. The hard food should help keep the tartar down. So hopefully things are going to improve from here and I can save the teeth that she does have left. The only one they're concerned about is her canine on this side, and that's because it's not growing down, it's growing forward. It is deformed, and I think that's from the abuse she went through before I got her. So that's the only tooth they're a little worried about, but they were able to save it and put some sealants on it, and it's strong and intact. So it's just something we have to keep an eye on going forward. But she's happy, she's healthy, she's doing a whole lot better. I'm feeling a lot better about it, so I'm having a much better week than I was having at the beginning of the week. But that being said, things are going much better now. I'm having a really great month, and I hope that it continues. And with that being said, I have a lot of videos planned, things that I am prepping for, because some of them require prep work. But I will have more videos coming out soon, I hope. But be on the lookout for that. I just want to thank you guys so much for joining me. It is always great and always a pleasure to come here and show you what I'm working on and hear from you guys. You guys really are an amazing family, and I love being a part of it. So thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't already, give this video a like and or give it a thumbs up, and also subscribe if you haven't. By giving it a thumbs up, you help YouTube know that you like these videos, and it might help show other people that I have good videos. And if I mean, that's up to you guys. But I feel really weird about asking people to do that. I know it's like a thing people do, but it still feels weird because I'm not used to doing it. It's not like part of my script. Yes, by the way, a lot of YouTube videos you will watch are scripted. The podcast, not so much, but anytime you watch anything else, scripted. Oh, the beauty of showbiz. Anyway. Hey, can you tell I ramble when I run out of things to say? Anyway, I'm gonna go. I have a lot to take care of. I have a dog who won't stop peeing on my sofa, so we're gonna figure out what's going on with that. I think she's just being a brat. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you all again soon here on the Spargur Yarn Crafts podcast channel. Thanks. Bye.